Namaste, everyone. I'm going to give you Kundalini Yoga for this powerful time that we're in with this summer solstice, these new moon solar eclipse in Cancer, and overall this eclipse season that's very activational, very transformative, so we can use this to our advantage, right? So we're going to drop in and we're going to focus on the root chakra with this particular kriya, really balancing out that root chakra so that we can feel grounded, so that we can feel stable as everything around us is being reshaped, right? The ground beneath us is not so secure, right? A lot of things are shaky right now, right? So it's important for us to focus on feeling grounded, feeling secure within ourselves. That's going to help us to navigate through this complex world that we're in, that in many ways has gotten more complex because we in many ways the change, right, is being forced upon us, right? And this is a change in many ways has been a momentum, right? This has been a momentum of many generations leading to the change that is happening now, as a lot of just the human experience is being deconstructed and remodeled and refashioned. And we just so happen to be right amongst the kind of movement, right? A lot of things are moving around and a lot of people are moving around. A lot of what was is no longer, what was not and now is, right? So we need to go in a particular direction as a human species, right? For this future timeline called the Aquarian Age, that is going to be right on top of us. It's very much sort of coming in, it's integrating its information right into our cellular DNA right now. But in 2036, right, we're going to have the sort of full download, and we're going to start to get to work, right? Start to actually really get to work in bigger ways, right? And we're starting to see that now as this Aquarian age is integrating itself into society and the many sort of facets and the many sort of the livelihood, right, of the human being. It's integrating into that, but we're going to actually start to see it being implemented in a sort of a stronger force in this 2036, right? It's actually going to be implemented in a sort of structure, right, in a longevity, right, where it's actually going to have a standing ground, it's going to have a footing. And that can be like, that can represent like amendments and policies, and that can represent sort of educational reform, social economic reform, all this type of reform that's a common word in today's society is just going to become even more so. But it's not going to be a talk, right, of reform. There's actually everything that's kind of the wave that's hitting us now is going to this sort of talk, right, of reform that sort of like a seems like a sort of wind, right, where in many ways it's grounded, but it takes time for this type of reform to actually to realize, right? And that's going to happen in this 2036, where a lot of the talk of reform is actually going to be a result, right? An actual structure, an actual sort of a identity, right? That we are going to understand, right? Rather it being elusive or just being talks amongst people, right? So everything is kind of shaking, and many people at this time are unnerved, right? Is you're plugging, that's what it means to be unnerved. You're basically plugging out of what was, and you're plugging into something new. And that something new may be totally shocking for you because it's very foreign. So whenever the universe, creation, God asks more of you, basically you're being plugged into more energy. And when you're given a lot of energy, you're given that energy is given to you so that you can be able to do a lot more than what you could before, right? So all of a sudden we're being asked to do a lot more than what we were asked to do before, right? So the demand, the pressure seems a lot more, right? The loss seems a lot more sort of shocking, and the win seems a lot more shocking as well, right? So we basically the success of our future, the whole identity of the human being, relationship with success is being remodeled, right? And we are really being asked at this time to really expand our ideas of what is possible for us as human beings, and really just to overall expand our consciousness. That's really what we're being asked, because reform in many ways it comes from the expansion of consciousness, right? From one sort of belief system to the next. It's all about the sort of expansion of the human being, right? And this particular expansion we're getting has a lot to do with emotional and spiritual maturity, and that's why racial justice, right, is one that is very important to the spiritual and emotional maturity of the human beings, right? Because that's basically deconstructing separation consciousness. And separation consciousness in our past, right, in the Piscean age, has led to a lot of emotional and spiritual bankruptcy, right? This sort of emotional and spiritual sort of war against humanity, and then this sort of karma, right? These wounds, these sort of traumas, curses of multiple generations, and them having to pay off these very difficult karmic debts, right? A part of the sort of, you know, the checks and balances, right? Because whenever there's a new age, there always has to be checks and balances, right? When you close one door and open another door, you have to bring checks and balances, right? You have to give a life review, and all of us were part of this sort of planetary life review, as these generations on this planet basically are setting the stage for what this next age will be about for the next 5,000 years. So we represent the life review, right? So everything of the past, the Piscean age, the karmic debt, that the things that weren't paid, the imbalances, all of that is will have to be reviewed, and will have to be corrected, right? Mistakes will have to be corrected, right? And it's not so much of what we, in our sort of society, we have this very shame and this judgment, you know, we're all going to hell and type of thing. This judgment is more so about spiritual and emotional maturity moving forward, rather than die in purgatory, hellhole, that type of thing. We're really trying to graduate beyond that type of relationship with our mistakes, or not even us. It could even be collective mistakes, right? It could be a belief system that has been running this sort of deep-rooted shame that has, you know, created all kinds of major sort of aggressions, right, or suffering, pain, right? That word judgment, that life review, is we're trying to move on for that kind of purgatory, right, where we're living in numbness, right, where we're living in the pain, right, and not knowing how to transmute it. We're really wanting to move into emotional and spiritual maturity, and that's really the kind of epicenter for what we call, you know, higher intelligence and consciousness, right? Awareness, right? Self-love is emotional and spiritual maturity. And a lot of that has to do with the relationship with ourselves and with each other, right? Self and other is a reflection of each other, right? And that is the kind of sort of basic understanding that comes about through emotional and spiritual maturity, right? And we have many sort of spiritual scripts that talk about our past in the Piscean age, when we are not, right, we don't have a sort of emotional and spiritual maturity, right, within a large group of people, right? And we see that type of the never-ending resentment, and the never-ending type of trauma, and this sort of curses, and that never-ending sort of karmic debt that's never paid, and these major mistakes, and this sort of inability to move forward, right, to really elevate oneself, right, feeling bound, feeling tied, feeling restricted, caught in fear, doubt, these sort of dense emotions, right, that keep us more earthbound. Which this Aquarian age is not so much about being earthbound, it's about being grounded, of course, right? Connected to the earth. But it's also about really developing the consciousness for the future, which is we as human beings are going to become more interstellar, right? We're going to vibrate the cosmos in the futures to come, right? And a part of vibrating the cosmos, is this sort of interstellar mind, right, that's more complex than the artificial intelligence, right? Because the emotional body is actually significantly more times intelligent, right, knowledgeable than what we think of the signals in the brain, right? And AI does not have that, right? So this Kriya is going to work on creating the sort of adjustments that we want so that we can feel more stable within ourselves, so that when these intense activations come in, there's basically downloads. That's all that's happening, downloads, upgrades, because this Aquarian age is going to be it's completely different from where we've been in our past, right? Our past lives, the past on this planet, and it's really going to require people to level up significantly. So this isn't just a little adjustment of the spine or just a little, little thing there. It's really about reprogramming our whole mainframe, right? To the computer of our mind. It's a major sort of cosmic shift, a major sort of a remaking of the brain that's happening on this planet through all the upgrades and information that's just pouring into the human psyche, into the human embodiment through these type of eclipses and solstices and equinoxes and all these type of major cosmic events, right? Because the future in many ways is the frequency of this future of the Aquarian age. It's the heart, right? It is of the heart, right? And what is the heart, right? When the success of the future is the people who have the heart frequency and are nourishing the people with the heart frequency. The heart frequency, yes, love, compassion, but it's emotional and spiritual maturity, and that is what the populace will be hungry for, right? So anything of the success of the future has to do with individuals that have this particular heart frequency that is so nourishing. Like, people are like, whoa, it's so nourishing, right? And you don't necessarily need to be like some philosopher or some sort of 8-hour meditator or whatever, right? The heart frequency, you can feel it in people, right? We call it the humanitarian, we call it the environmentalist. And the future of this planet, really, in the Aquarian age, is like everything is exposed, so you really can't hide, because the future is about honesty and integrity, right? And it's going to be more so than ever any time on planet Earth in the Piscean age, because there's a sort of transparency that's happening, like almost like a full disclosure is happening, right? And everybody's getting more sensitive, right, to sounds, to interactions. Even telepathy is something even Yogi Bhajan said would become a thing, right, in the Aquarian age, which seems so, E.T. type of situation, right? But it's not so far out there, because telepathy has to do with the sensitivity. It has to do with consciousness, the mind wave, being able to tap into the mind wave, right? Like your phone, right? the signal. It's a signal that's sent out. The mind wave also gives a signal. So it would make it logically possible for telepathy to actually be something, right? For a more spiritually and emotional matured state of human, right? So the future, the success of the future has everything to do with the emotional and spiritual maturity of a person that it's nourishing. People are looking to be nourished, right? The evolution of this earth and these human beings at this state that we're in has everything to do with growing up, right? Because in the Piscean age, in many ways, we were holding on to a lot of, we've gone through a lot of this, the suffering, right? The Piscean age is like that. There's a lot of the suffering. There's a lot of the emotional pain. The human condition, there's a lot of emotional pain associated with it. But this Aquarian age is all about the technology, human technology, not, artificial intelligence, the technology of being able to transmute it, to clear it out of the system, to know the mind, know how to clear it out of the system, right? So a lot of the future concepts is going to be like self-psychology. There's going to be a huge on dance therapy, movement therapy, huge emphasis on like health and wellness and the many sort of facets of that when it comes to nutrition, when it comes to physical, exercise, when it comes to mental health, when it comes to emotional like therapy, like group therapy, when it comes to like trauma therapy. I mean, when it comes to even sort of like vitamins, right? When it comes to like juices and all of that, that's the future of the Aquarian age. It's all about the technology of nature, such as like herbs and remedies, and right, even when it goes to the pharmaceutical, right? All of that is sort of technology, right? And then the technology of human beings, such as technology of sort of conscious pregnancy, right? Conscious conception, right? There's a sort of ritual technology to that, right? The mind, the emotions, the sort of the correcting of the spine, the healing, right? Healing of traumas or the childhood sort of insecurities. That is all about the human technology. It's all about the Aquarian age. And the reason why we're given that at this time in this sort of human evolution, having just got out of a very sort of very separation consciousness, big time separation, and a lot of that bred a lot of aggression, a lot of resentment, a lot of karmic debt that is just a lot of sort of suffering, right? Emotional pain, a lot of emotional pain on this planet, not just for one group, for really all groups of people, right? And that kind of emotional pain, it led to a lot of social economic imbalances. It led to a lot of belief systems that need to be eliminated, right? Had a lot of aggressions towards each other, competition, sort of, being bound to the lower chakras, not knowing how to elevate yourself, right? And we, in part of this transitional period as human beings, we're part of this sort of upgrade. We're part of the sort of the stepping stones into a more elevated state of mind, right? An elevated state of mind. And that's going to come directly through our expansion, right? Expansion of imagination, right? That's going to require us to have critical thought. That's going to require us to have sovereignty of mind. That's going to require the basic sort of virtue of all virtues, regardless of, you live in, Australia, you're an indigenous person, right? Or, live in North America, all different time periods. Courage, right? Courage. And I think at this time, with everything that's going on, we're really getting to see the courage, right? We're being tested in many ways and broken down, so we can really look at this perceived weakness, this sort of perceived disabilities that we have, so that we can work with them, so that we can face them now, so that when the things get a little more intense, which it'll just get more intense in different periods of the Aquarian age, we'll know how to manage it better, right? We'll know how to manage the stresses, the sort of collapses, the destruction, right? We'll know our weaknesses, right? We'll know our weaknesses, right? But we'll also get to know our strength in the way that when you are put in a situation that we're all in, right, in many ways, you really get to see, like, what is my real strength? What is my resilience? Like, what is it about me that builds me up rather than tears me down? What is it that I say or do? What is it that I program myself to be, right, in this moment of crises, right, to build myself up? So while everything is being built down in many ways, right, and people can feel it, like things are just being built down, right, all kinds of just, you can feel it, right, we're thinking of how can we build ourselves up, right, when it seems like a lot of things are being built down, a lot of things seem out of control, right, or a lot of things seem that just right in front of our eyes it's changing, and it's not just like a change of style or a change of like clothing or like a change of like, I don't know, a fashion or something like that. This is like a change of an actual like identity of how we think we are. It's like a change of a whole, like the collective is deciding to function from a different way, right? They're trying to function, they want a different experience, right? That's a different change. There's fashion or something like that, right? You reinvented yourself and you're taking on a new type of thing or whatever. There's a completely new experience that people are wanting, right? And the future of that experience has everything to do with the heart frequency, right? The sort of returning the heart frequency back to the human experience, right? Because in our past, we know a lot of emotional pain and being numb, and we know many generations of that, right? Leading to like alcoholism, leading to, just what it means to be numb, right? What it means to be numb, being unfulfilled, right? Having that emotional pain, not knowing what to do with it. But now we as human beings, we're sort of getting the download, information on what to do with that emotional pain, how to transmute it, right? How to actually emotionally and spiritually mature, right? And that's what's going to bring about the heart frequency that's going to make, it's going to make people very successful, right? Because we all we're looking, especially the younger generations, but really all generations, they're looking to be nourished. They're looking for wisdom within another human being. People want to develop their consciousness. They really do, right? People don't just want to be just caught in things of the past, like the past of our, where we've been as a collective. People really want to get the download. They really want they really want to level up, right? They really want to have this sort of self-mastery. A lot of younger generations and all people want to have that kind of self-mastery. They really want to, experience that heart frequency. They really want to experience like this fifth dimension, right? But in order for us to experience that fifth dimension, we have to initiate ourselves. So a lot of initiation, when you're initiating yourself, going back to ancient Egypt, in various cultures around this planet, it's a similar sort of pathway, right? Just in different sort of kind of variations of that. It's like the same pathway, right? To be initiated, you go through these challenges where you're hunting for spiritual energy, right? And it's almost like in for us as human beings, we won't be able to really move forward until we've gathered this spiritual energy, until we've gathered this wisdom. So a lot of Kundalini yoga is about, you don't need to necessarily travel to these sort of sacred sites to get the download, right? You can actually, your time space machine, your aura, if you were to unlock it, if you were really to like use it, it actually can give you the same type of high experience, the same type of, wisdom that you get going to like a temple in the Himalayan mountains, right? Or some sort of sacred site in various regions around this planet. It can give you the same sort of major activation where you can actually break through a block and you can actually initiate yourself further. So people on this planet moving forward, they want to connect with your aura. They want to have a breakthrough. People want to break through blocks on behalf of themselves, you know, who they are and what they want to do, but also their ancestors, this whole planet, where their geographic region, their, you know, whatever ethnicity, nationality, all of that. People want to break through blocks, and they want the heart frequencies, how we're able to break through blocks. The heart transmission is how we're able to break through blocks, right? Because people, you know, it's boring, emotional bankruptcy, boring, that type of thing. People want to level up. They want to experience the what it means to be in one's totality, what it is to feed one's infinity, what it is to really be in to really be in one's victory, right? To really move, to really grow spiritually and emotionally. That's the two things that's really the focus of this future, is spiritually and emotional maturity, right? But in order to do that, we have to be initiated. We have to hunt for spiritual energy, right? And that's what we're doing. And we hunt through this, really the real spiritual energy is in the heart, right? Not in your brain. I'm not going to pick your brain out, right? It's in the heart energy, right? It's in the creativity. That's where we find the real wisdom of human experience, and human sort of ascension is in that heart energy. So we're going to work on kind of getting stable within ourselves, creating that sort of feeling of being upgraded and getting that sort of download within ourselves, so that we can start to really have that breakthrough, you know, break through these blocks, so that we can really get to what it is that we came here to do. And I'm telling you, the future of this planet moving forward is not going to be, it's going to be very different. And those people who kind of follow the sort of the power surge and where the power's going, right, they're going to be quite successful, right? Because the power is being redirected, right? What we've been manifesting in the past in many ways is being demanifested, right? Demantled. And a lot of the sort of, there's this new growth happening of this almost fresh, original, sort of imaginative, expansive ideas that are being manifested, right? Concepts and sort of in a whole new fashion, a whole new like shape and form of experience, relationship is being manifested. And there's the power surges moving through that. And those people who go, right, that's what it is to be a spiritual hunter. You kind of go where that power's going. You're gonna be in this sort of, you're gonna be at the right time in the right place, getting that major activation, right? Really, you know, being in your leadership, and you're going to really get that sort of upgrade to the heart energy, and you're going to find whatever you're doing, or you're becoming, or you're transforming, or you're sort of moving, right, within yourself, within your consciousness, within your idea of what you can do and what is possible. It's actually going to be a lot more powerful. It's going to be a lot more impactful, and it's going to be, you know, like 60 times a lot more magnetic, because you're coming from the place of the heart energy, and that's where we're meant to be in the future of the Aquarian age, right? So, any resistance to that, it's almost like it's going to be met, and it is being met. The resistance to that kind of demantling of the separation consciousness, and the sort of resistance to that, the sort of delay to that, or the stubbornness to that, or the inability to actually move forward with that. It's like the Aquarian age, the universe, God is like, it's just not going to go anywhere, right? Because the momentum of this age, and the momentum of the collective consciousness, the majority consciousness, which is the sort of expansion, the creative expansion of our planet, the emotional spiritual maturity, is going to it's only a minority group that wants human beings to be emotionally and spiritually immature. It's a small group. It's minority. The majority want emotional and spiritual maturity, because that will change all stats across the board, from like environmental sort of like nations of environmental sort of excellence, right, to like to child raising, to when it comes to, you know, women, the people amount of, you know, having kids, when it comes to sort of food choices, what commonly people want to eat, like all across the board, you're going to see the sort of statistics of all kinds of things changing because of the emotional and spiritual maturity. And we get that through our ability to be honest with ourselves and to develop integrity, right? To really use the technology of our body, mind, and spirit to really channel whatever it is, you know, the low self-worth, the low self-esteem, to really channel that in through our kind of soulfulness, right? That's how we're able to, you can say, move on from the emotional pain, to cut the ties, to pay off the karmic debts, whatever that is. It's through that sort of soulful emergence, this sort of soulful sort of resilience, or that revolution, right, that you have. That really is how we're able to dismantle a lot of these traumas and curses of the past, right? And all kinds of, you know, whatever it is on this planet that needs to be, you know, reformed happens through the emotional and spiritual maturity. And, you know, on the planet, there's all kinds of sort of projections of where we're going to go, right? 50 years from now and stuff like that. And all kinds of ideas about, you know, pollution just getting worse, trash rivers just getting thicker, you know, poison zones, the, you know, the climate, you know, climate refugees being a lot larger in number, social economic collapses. I mean, you know, even when it comes to the population, you know, 7.7 billion, 10 billion, you know, all of that kind of thing. There's all that kind of projection possibility, but there's another possibility in the projection of the future, and that is through the channel of the spiritual and emotional maturity. There's a completely different future timeline when we're looking at human beings having emotional and spiritual maturity. And when we look at that kind of future, we're seeing like population kind of evening out, right? We're looking at like, you know, less pollution, you know, because less plastic, and, you know, being more conservative, right? We're looking at social economic reform, right? And that is the future that this planet Earth is desiring, right? Because that future has life, right? Earth is not going to give us a future just death, right? The extinction, right? We've experienced the extinction already as a human species multiple times. The future in this particular planet, in this time that we're in, is about human ascension, right? It's about every human being getting that experience of their spiritual and emotional maturity, right? Of being able to graduate beyond, you know, the emotional pain and all of that kind of you know, blockages, right? And being able to really activate and energize their sort of technology of their own mind, body, spirit to actually create a quantum leap. This is the age of, you know, human ascension is about creating quantum leap. It's about all geographic regions getting the experience of what it means to break through the blocks, right? And to restore their sort of interstellar consciousness. And everything about this future, there's going to be like a complete, like especially younger generations, you're going to see more and more interested in like interstellar consciousness, creativity, expansion, right? Because that is sort of how we're able to actually maneuver through this earth at this time, right? Through our life. It's a way not just of bringing us peace and relaxation, but it's also a way for us to be able to handle the mass amount of energy that's being given to us that we need to use, right? And in many ways, we don't know what to do with all this energy that we're given, these downloads, information upgrades, but we're definitely being asked to put it into a sort of, put it into a modality, put it into a container, put it into a project, put it into a sort of manifestation, where that's what we're being asked. We're given all this energy to hold it into a container, to do something with it, right? But in order to create the container, the vessel, the manifestation, we have to be initiated. We have to create the sort of vessel that can hold, that can embody this information, right? So that's going to require us to hunt for spiritual energy. That's going to require us to really develop these virtues, right? Of what it means to be wise, right? To be that container of a higher level manifestation, we're going to have that emotional and spiritual maturity. And fortunately for us, there's so much, so many sort of pathways of emotional and spiritual maturity. I mean, there's so many pathways, again, of not, no emotional and spiritual maturity, right? Which usually those pathways lead to emotional bankruptcy, spiritual bankruptcy. And a lot of those pathways usually lead to sort of nonsense, right? Like kind of, stupidity, also lead to non-reality where there's no creativity, right? And you'll be able to feel it, like there's no creativity, because the heart frequency of that sort of transmission, it will feel very boring to you, right? It'll feel very, very boring. It will feel very like a distraction. It won't really penetrate you in a way where you're gonna feel like, oh, I just unlocked like this like huge creative energy within my physical body, right? Just through looking at that person on their YouTube or whatever, right? There's going to be a major difference when you look at that kind of heart transmission that comes from emotional and spiritual maturity. You actually feel nourished. You feel like you like literally you got like a major download or upgrade, right? And your creativity all of a sudden is just like, whoa, you've shifted in a sort of, you become more refined, more enhanced, right? And that's what the future is that kind of heart frequency of emotional spiritual maturity, where you can feel the type of, in your body, you can feel yourself becoming emotionally and spiritually more well-rounded, more grounded, more soulful, right? More in your creativity, right? That's really what it is. When you could feel it, you just more in your creativity when you're around that person, or you're looking at the thing, or whatever the thing is, right? And that's the future of this planet. That's the heart frequency. Like when you go to the guru or the temple, or the mountain or the travel or whatever it is, you become more creative. And the creativity is not just about art or music. It can also be about creative sort of in your intellect, your expanded mind, right? The way you can connect with multiple perspectives. You become culturally diverse. It's very creative to be very culturally diverse. You can become more creative in your sexuality, in your movement, right? Culture diversity, again, movement, right? You seeing dances in Japan, seeing dances in, Russia, and all of that kind of thing. It gives you this sort of sexual movement that makes you a lot more grounded. It makes you a lot more sort of, wide, and the hips, and just everything starts to move more sort of organically, and you unlock a lot of sort of secrets in your ability to create and recreate and reinvent and shape and make things, right? So that is the kind of heart frequency transmission that the people want to experience, right? In the non-reality, I see it as you get no creativity from it, right? Which is energy. You get no creativity from it, right? And in many ways, there's a lot of things where we don't get creativity from it, right? Um, in the sort of reality of what we're wanting, that heart frequency transmission, that emotional and spiritual maturity, you get a lot of creativity from it. You get a sort of response to it that gives you inspiration, right? and it can be in like subtle ways. Like you could watch a show and all of a sudden just a look somebody does, like the whole movie could be crap, right? And then just one character does this particular scene or whatever, and the scene has so much expressive sort of heart or sort of integrity, or like a sincerity, or just a deep passion, or something that feels so like soulful, so emotionally just captivating, right? And you're like, whoa, like, whew, got this major download, right? Of like an emotional type of experience that is so, it can even be you're watching something like very sad, right? But you get this sort of emotional liberation from it. Like this emotional like ecstasy, right? Through the emotional, that person in whatever state they're in, it could be something sad, but you just get this emotional liberation from it. Or an intellectual liberation, like, when I get that intellectual high when I'm watching like the Ancient Aliens, and all of a sudden I'm like, whoa, you get that kind of intellectual sort of expansion, that sort of creative energy that you didn't, that all of a sudden you're connecting and becoming more dynamic, more multifaceted, right? We're not meant to just keep doing the same boring thing, the same destructive thing, and be like walking around like flat Stanleys. Like we can't connect. The future of this planet is mirroring the technology that we have with the web. We are meant to be very culturally diverse. We're meant to know how to connect different languages with different religions, different ethnic groups, different sort of nationalities. We're meant to be very dynamic, and that sort of capacity of way that we can we can be able to handle this planet, right? Rather than in the past, the Piscean age, we could not really handle this planet um, in the kind of diversity that we have, right? We looked at diversity as like, we need to kill it off, right? Just kill the diversity, right? The grouping, right? That type of thing, right? From who the goods and the bads, and who's worthy, who's unworthy, and now everyone feels unworthy because it's a collective program. Everybody feels unworthy in many ways, right? I don't feel good enough, regardless if you're privileged or not, right? So we're gonna work on some of that through this practice when it comes to really tapping into the heart frequency, so that we can start to give a transmission of the, because our future self or would want this, right? Because everyone who's alive, your future self is in the Aquarian age, either if you're 85 or 8, right? You might not make it to live next year, but your embodiment is in an Aquarian age experience. It wanted the Aquarian age, right? Not everybody is going to actually be there in the Aquarian age because they didn't sign up, but everybody's getting that experience. Everybody's getting the information. Everybody's getting the download on what the Aquarian age is, regardless if you will be alive in 5 years or not. And part of that Aquarian age is really, it's about dismantling a lot of these ancestral ties and these like, these sort of low self-worth, this low self-esteem, like not knowing how to manifest, this type of sort of, again, emotional and spiritual immaturity, where we're victims, we don't take responsibility, we feel very low about ourselves, we don't feel good enough. We start to destroy ourselves, destroy other people, and just all for leading to bankruptcy, emotional bankruptcy, numbness, like, this kind of, this feeling incomplete. There's so many people that feel incomplete. They feel like they're not whole. They feel like they're fragmented. They feel like they're lost. They feel like they just don't feel consolidated within their own energy. They don't feel like they're embodied. Right? They feel like they're in sort of separation within themselves. They're disconnected from themselves. And therefore, they don't know what it is to actually move on, to initiate themselves. They get just locked into a room, right? With somebody, right? Or with some situation that they don't necessarily know how to kind of solve the kind of sort of puzzle of that. right? And it all comes through that sort of intuitive power that we all have, through our ability to really tap into that heart frequency, to really expand that heart frequency. So we'll work on that. So bring the hands together, rub them here at the heart. Inhale, exhale. Roll the shoulders back and down, spine is tall, tuck in the chin slightly, and we'll tune in with Ang, O-N-G, Namo, Gurudev Namo. Inhale, exhale. Inhale to begin. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Inhale. Hold the breath, squeeze up and in, press the tongue on the roof of the mouth, vibrate the cosmos. Exhale. Now we'll do protection mantra. So imagine 4 pillars of light around you, and with each sound you'll spin the energy, starting to the right, behind you, to the left, ahead of you. Spin it with each sound, and then spin it very fast around you, clockwise. And then you're gonna imagine a blue flame spinning very, very fast, as though you're inside of the burning royal blue bush of God, and feel utter protection, and feel you're elevating yourself into a 5th dimensional state of being. That's where prosperity, lineage, victory, and sovereignty lies. Inhale to begin. Adagadename, Jagadgadename, Sadgadename, Siddhi Gurudevename. Adagadename, Jagadgadename, Sadgadename, Siddhi Gurudevename. Adagadename, Jagadgadename, Sadgadename, Siddhi Gurudevename. Inhale. Hold the breath, squeeze up and in. Exhale. Now we'll do cat-cow. So inhale through the nose, exhale through the nose, and really open up the spine, open up the throat, really bring the head back, really stick the butt up, and then really round the back, and really squeezing the navel, activating the lower abdominal. Inhale. Squeeze up. Press the tongue on the roof of the mouth. Squeeze rectum, sex organ, navel. Squeeze. Exhale around the back. Squeeze belly button to spine. Tuck in the chin. Now, inhale, exhale very long and deep as you bring your head down to the earth. Hands in prayer above your head. And child's pose. Breathe long and deep through the nose. Okay, inhale, exhale, come up, come seated, and then we'll do a breath of fire. So be even inhale, exhale through the nose. You're just gonna have your hands in the Gyan Mudra. Actually, you're gonna have you're gonna work on so we have the thumb and the ring finger, like this. The Venus Sun Man, you're going to do breath of fire, which is going to really work with the sort of activating the radiance within you. Inhale. Hold the breath. Squeeze up and in. Press the tongue on the roof of the mouth. Exhale. Now we will do a fist of anger. So bring the thumb under and the fingers over the thumb. And then you're going to kind of move it around the head as you do a breath of fire with the O-shaped mouth. Like a cannon fire, and really tap into your anger. Feel the red of rage, frustration, anger, resentment, all of that. Get it out. Inhale, interlace the fingers up to the earth. Hold the breath, sip up all the air, like sipping up through a straw. Stretch the armpits, stretch the heart, see white light, pure white light all around you. You're not angry anymore, you feel peace. Let it go. Let it go. Exhale. Bring the hands down. So 3 minutes of fist of anger will help you to not destroy yourself, which is a part of an initiation, right, that we all go through when it comes to destroying ourselves. So that helps us to get it out of our body in a more sort of empowering way. So now we're going to do diction meditation. So your thumbs on the temple. You're going to inhale very deep through the nose. You're going to hold the breath, press the tongue on the roof of the mouth, and you're going to Mentally recite Sa Ta Nama as many times as you can hold your breath. And with each Sa Ta Nama, each sound you're bringing the back molars together, sort of clamping them together gently. And then exhale all the way out, very deeply, long, and then inhale to begin the process again. So, ready, and begin. Inhale. Exhale. Bring the hands down. Just relax and feel more stable within yourself and the way that you can handle things. Feel like you have tools so you can handle. So now we're going to come onto your knees. We're going to listen to this mantra. It's a creative mantra, so just sit on your knees like a royal student. Just listen. And just hold your sort of hands in your lap. Sort of right hand over left, and I'm just dropping into my physical body. and see all the ways that you can be more energetic, enthusiastic, empowered. Feel the energy building up. You're getting more energy, not less. You get more energy. You feel more energy. Like when you go to the ocean, or you look at the moon, or go to a jazz ensemble, you feel more energy. Feel like you have more energy. Okay, inhale, exhale, and then just come onto the bottom and have your legs out. And you're gonna have your hands, so your legs are just kind of out, bent. And what you're gonna do is you're just gonna twist one side and then twist to one other side. Okay, inhale. Exhale to straighten the legs. Just breathe long and deep. Now we're going to come standing, and our legs are going to be far apart. We're going to grab opposite leg to opposite arm. And then you're just going to go side to side and around. Okay, inhale. Exhale. Inhale again. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Now slowly come into a downward facing dog, like a shorter downward facing dog. Bend the knees, stick the butt way out. And then what you're going to do is your feet are parallel, and then you're going to bring them out. And then you're going to kind of drop your belly between your legs and then bring them parallel. When you bring your belly forward, you're going to kind of lift the head out and then tuck in the chin again. Look towards the navel. Bring the feet out. Open up the neck. So inhale, parallel, exhale out. and inhale. Exhale. Bring the feet parallel. Come into your knees for a moment. Now you're going to come into a deep squat. And then you're just going to come one side and then let the leg open on the other side and then come back, hands both on the ground. Come over one leg, kind of on the ball of the foot, while you roll over the pinky side, opening up the hip of the other leg. Inhale, exhale. Inhale. Now sit into it. Bring the hands to the heart. Lift up. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Now come back to your knees. Feel the opening of the hips. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to interlace the fingers above the head, like this, so that the elbows are bent. And then you're just going to rotate the hips, kind of creating a full circle. And then rotate the other direction. And you want to create a full circle. Okay, inhale, exhale. Now come seated and have your legs out in front of you. Kind of, you can reach forward, kind of stretch it out. Bring your heart towards your knees. Really feel it in the lower back. Okay, inhale, exhale. Now you're going to have the right leg out, left leg in, right? If this is all you can do, that's wonderful. But if you can, you want to, if it's possible for you and your body, you want to kind of bring it underneath the perineum, right? And then you're going to reach towards the leg, reaching the heart towards the knee. And then you're just going to hold, breathing long and deep. Really feel it stretch in the lower back. And I like to kind of move. So I like to sort of, I'm not stationary. I want to kind of create a movement because that helps me to get deeper into it, even if it's just a little sway. Okay, inhale, exhale, fold over. Inhale, exhale. Now really just fold over and just relax. Okay, inhale, exhale, and then just kind of slowly make your way out of it. Right? And just kind of sit for a moment with your leg bent and the other leg straight, spine is tall. Really stretch the spine, very tall, as though someone's kind of pulling a string at the top of the head, pulling your whole spine up like a puppet. Okay, inhale, exhale. Now switch legs, bring the left leg out and the right knee in. If this is all you can do, that's wonderful. If you can, try to bring it to the perineum. And then we'll just stretch right over the left leg, reaching the heart towards the knee, kind of looking towards the toe. And then just begin to breathe long and deep. And you really want to twist so that you're not reaching like this. You really want to twist and then reach over. And just breathe long and deep. And just kind of, again, you can see him sort of swaying side to side. And that really helps me, especially if you feel like you're feeling some aches in the back. Helps really like loosen that up. Inhale. Exhale, fold over. And just breathe long and deep. Really folding over, relaxing. Inhale. Exhale. And just slowly make your way out of it. Okay. And just kind of relax with the leg in and the left leg out. And just spine tall. Really feel like you're stretching from the neck up. The shoulders are going down as you're stretching your neck up. It's almost like someone's pulling your head up, like chiropractic the neck. Really feel that. Okay, inhale, exhale. So now what we're going to do is we're going to come into a camel, and we're only going to be here for a minute and a half, and you're just going to be in the full camel or whatever posture position you can do that's comfortable for your body. And you're going to sort of bring the navel to the belly button, and you're going to chant Hud, 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 Hud. So the Hud is, you got to bring the tongue to the roof of the mouth while you're doing that, okay? At the same time, while you're bringing the belly button to spine, so you can really activate the creative energy in your body. And doing this in camel will definitely really awaken the Kundalini, let the heat move into areas, help you clear out the blockages that you may have in your chakra system, particularly the lower chakras. Okay, so, and it should look like this. Hud, 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 Hud. And just keep going as many times as you can. You can just come here, or you can even go like this. Hud, 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 Hud. Hud, 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 Hud. And then just really feel like you're pounding a drum. Hud, 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 like with some sort of grit. Hud, 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 Hud. Inhale. Exhale. Now come up and then come seated. And then just begin to flex forward, flex back. Inhale. Exhale. Now come onto your knees. And then just begin to roll the shoulders all around, like forward, back and around, and create like a big sort of rotation of the shoulders. You really want to open it up, let the energy move. Let the energy move. Really feel like you're opening up the back in this sort of movement. Like you're really rolling your shoulders back, really opening up the heart, opening up the chi in the back. And just feel the heat helping you to heal. Creating heat in the body. Now we'll begin to rotate forward and down, around. Okay, and inhale, bring it straight up. Press on the thighs, come forward slightly. Exhale, hold the posture. Drop the head. Breathe in and out to the upper back. Okay, inhale. Exhale. Now you're gonna do, we have 2 challenging poses that we're gonna do. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna come all the way back. So we're gonna sit in like celibate pose. So you're gonna have your knees together, seated between your legs, and then you're gonna fall back and bring your head down to the earth. And what I like to do is I like to put like a pillow in my lower back to kind of help me, because I really want to put the top of the head, the hairline on the ground. So you're creating a little, you're opening the heart, creating a little sort of arch in the back. Inhale, exhale, and then come up, and then slowly come seated. That one is somewhat challenging, right? Because it definitely works on the knees, the hips, it works on the back, the neck. So now what we're gonna do is kind of what we've been preparing ourselves for, which is to do the full lotus, right? And we'll do both sides, right? And if you can't do the full, that is a-okay. Just try the best of you that you can. Lotus is actually wonderful to be able to do, sort of a master, a master's pose. But it really shows the hip and how open the hips are, right? And not only how open the hips are, how dynamic the hips are, right? The hips can take on different movement, right? And as a warrior, we need our legs to be, or especially our hips, right? We need them to be able to create different movement, right? So for like a ninja, or right, we're some sort of fighter, or some sort of strong person, we have to be able to take those different postures that we do in yoga. So it really shows our ability to take on these sort of different postures with agility, right? With a sort of fluidity rather than like a lot of energy to do one and then get into the other and then feeling wounded, right? Part of the warrior's journey is feeling as wounded as least, less as possible, right? As less as possible. We don't want to feel wounded, right? And that's, the hips really help us to not be wounded. So when we're walking, right, after you do like a big hip opening set, you just feel like, oh my gosh, like it just feels so easy. But then when your hips are tight, it's just like, it's like exhausting, right? And the part of a warrior is you've got to be on your toes, right? You've got to be prepared. You've got to be in the world, and the world will shock you. It's always a crisis. There's always some kind of chaos going on, right? So you've got to be able to maneuver yourself through it with this sort of speed, but also this sort of structure, right? This sort of standing ground. So we'll go ahead and begin. So I'm gonna start with right, and then, so you really want to get it right at the hip fold, so right, and then I have left. And again, it's not going to be perfect, right? And you usually want to do this when you feel hips are pretty open, right? That's why you got to warm up. It's not something you just jump into. And then what we want to do is you just want to kind of go around yourself. Like that. And you want to kind of just like sort of like kind of just wiggle side and then to the other side. All right, it's almost like I'm going over to one side and kind of going over the other side. And again, if this isn't possible for you, just do whatever is possible and you will work up to it. Okay, and then just bring it back. Inhale, exhale, come out of it. See, for me, it's about the ankle and feeling secure in the ankle and feeling in the knee as well. Because that's usually for me where it hurts more. It means that the hips need a more rotation. So now I'm going to have, starting with the right and then the left over the right. So doing it the different way. And this took me about years to really get to without feeling pain. And then go the other direction. And then I'm just going to go to one side, the other side. Okay, and then inhale forward. Exhale, come out of it. Whew. Oh. And then just come seated and just feel what that has done for you, this whole sort of mobility of the hip, how that feels so good. Even your being able to sit becomes a lot more open and spacious. Take a moment. Inhale. Exhale very long and deep. Now we're going to do it again, except we're going to listen to kind of so we're listening to Adi Shakti, but now we're going to listen to sort of a song. You're going to kind of come up with your own our own sort of dance with it, right? And I'm doing this song because I mean it's we want to do kind of expressive movement with it, right? Adi Shakti mantra. It feels we want to get more into emotional, expressive. So right, left, and right over left. And when you do it the second time, you could feel a lot more open. And then you're just going to kind of create like your own sort of movement with it. Just whatever kind of feels like it's calling to your body. You can even move your hands up You can follow me to kind of inspire your movement. The reason we're doing that is because we want to support a sort of ability to make new movement to help us get unstuck. Now you can switch legs, right, left over right, and one side may feel less challenging, but really feel how you work through the challenge. You're testing yourself so that when you're faced with challenge out there, you have a sort of enthusiasm, sort of ability to kind of breathe into it and find your way through it, work out the problem. It's like work it out here so that when you're out there, you can work it out a lot better. Because the out there challenge will be seeming more big, difficult than the working out the problem of your hips. So you just find more movement, and then we'll just switch one last time to really create the movement. Now it may feel really pain, or it could feel a lot easier. Just run with it. For me, it feels a lot more, it feels easier. You want to get your whole body involved. And then switch one last time the other way. Right, left, over right. Just move your body. Okay, inhale, exhale, and then just come seated and just kind of feel what we have done. I feel a lot of heat. I feel a lot of heat in the body. A lot of our heat comes from the hips when we're walking, sitting. A lot of that heat comes in the hip when it starts to open up. Now, we're going to do this meditation. Just sit and relax. Feel the sort of heat moving. You can place your hands, right hand over left at the heart. Drop into your physical body and feel how grounded, stable You are within your own body, your mind, your emotions, feeling stable. You cannot, the crises that always is will continue to be, right? And you're going to always be in it, the storm. But it is your inherent gift to find the eye of the storm, to be in the eye of the storm, to find that sort of position amongst the storm where you have peace, to find that position, to find that altitude, to find that longitude, to find that pattern, to find that relationship, to find that home, that standstill within yourself. Because the storm will always be, it just changes, right? It changes its shape, it changes its rhythm, it changes its velocity, its speed, its height, its width. But you can find the eye of the storm. You can maneuver and kind of move into it. So you're always ahead. You're always in divine timing. You're always paying attention. You're always vigilant. And you always can grab that opportunity to be at the right place at the right time. So just see yourself in the eye of the storm. Many storms you will face, and see yourself kind of moving with it, sort of bending like a tree sort of sways with the wind, right? To keep the sort of stability of the tree, sort of bending and kind of moving with that storm so that you can be in the best impact. So just use your imagination, see yourself in the eye of the storm. Now we're going to begin to chant. So bring your hands down off your heart. Feel that heat. You're bringing it to the heart. You generate in the body. When you bring the hands to the heart, you're putting into the heart to heal the heart, to reconstruct the heart energy, to repair. So now we're going to do this mantra, focusing on the navel point. We're using the HUD, HAR, tongue on the roof of the mouth as you bring belly button to spine, and focusing on the creativity. Har is the creativity, the creation, the creator, creative. Hada 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 hada. So you can feel there's different range. Hada 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 hada. So I'm pumping. So you're gonna begin to pump your navel, right? You're gonna pump it with the HUD, but you're gonna continue to pump it, just continue it consistently, continuously, with the song, kind of getting that sort of rhythm, that sort of tempo, and you're gonna kind of create the HUD, right? But you want it to feel very melodic in you, right? So we're tapping into a range. If you can't really hit that range or that, just try your best. You want to bring it melodically into your system. So right now I'm just pumping the navel. If I'm not pregnant or my first 3 days of my cycle. Just really kind of creating that energy, really activating that navel point. Hada 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 hada. Hada 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 hada. Hada 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 hada. So really feel what you're creating. Hada 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 hada. Hada 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 hada. Hada 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 hada. Pump, 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 pump. Hada 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 hada. 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 Hari 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 hada. Hari 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 hada. Hari 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 hada. So you can listen, it changes. Hari, har. Hari 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 hari. Hari 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 hari. Hari 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 hara. Hari 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 hari. Hari 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 hari. Hari 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 hara. Now hud, 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 huddy, 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 hud, 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 hud. Inhale. Exhale, bring the hands back to the heart, right over left, tuck in the chin slightly, spine is tall, shoulders roll back and down, and bring this energy into the heart. Reconstruct the heart, repair, heal, restore, rebalance, reestablish the heart energy, the heart frequency, broadcast it out. Feel the heat of the thighs, the heat of the legs, the heat of the hips, the heat of the navel, the lower chakras, and really bring it into the heart. Use that heat of the lower chakra, the sexual energy, bring it into the heart, and create this emotional balance, this sort of emotional tranquility, this emotional equanimity, and feel this sort of emotional harmony. So bring all that heat creating the body and bring it into the heart through actively kind of squeezing it up, like you're almost squeezing it up through the breath. And then when you exhale through the nose, you're going to feel this sort of generated energy sort of manifesting your emotional well-being. So see yourself in this emotional well-being. What does that look like? How do you see? How do you move? How do you interact with people, yourself? What kind of life, what kind of environment do you have in your home, in your own space, your routine, your life, your friends, your family, your work? What is it that kind of gives you that sort of joy, sort of what lights you up, right? Feel that in your emotional well-being. Really see yourself moving with it, like you're dancing with it. You're twirling, you're skipping, you're hopping, you're stomping, you're moving with it. Bringing that heat, that heart, that creative energy into the heart. Guru, 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 Jio, 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 Jio. Inhale very deep, hold the breath. Set it free like a bird, a caged bird, and see that caged bird. The cage is broken, dissolved. The bird comes out clean. The bird flies. See a white bird, a white dove fly. Fly like the white bird. Exhale. Inhale, fly like the white bird. No longer caged. The cage is broken, dismantled. Exhale. Inhale. See the white bird fly over the ocean, over the forest, free. See yourself focused, concentrated, clear-minded, out of the tanglements distractions have us fragmented at odds, competing with ourselves, fighting ourselves, sabotaging ourselves. Everything comes together in the dove. Now, breathe in and out, see the swan, the swan in the ponds, feel that energy, the two swans. See the two swans, this is union. See the masculine and the feminine in you, not at odds, not competing, not aggression, not a sort of one over each other, trying to climb each other, trying to take from each other, doll each other. See them respecting each other. See that within yourself, see that outside. See the sort of natural relationship with man and female. See that kind of harmony between the heart, the woman, the heart, the woman's universe, and the mind, the man's domain, the sort of man's control, the mind game, the mind control, the mind program, the mind belief, the sort of mind seduction. And see the heart and the mind, the two powers coming into a sort of harmony and agreement, sort of attunement, becoming rhythmically in sync instead of at odds, friction, aggression, tension. See the mind, the man mind, and see the heart, the hearth, the kitchen, the hearth, the heart of the home, the woman, and see that kind of relaxing, the two relaxing into each other, serpenting through each other. See the serpent, the white serpent, that is the purity of man and woman. See the white dove, the white swans, the white serpent. See the blue flame. Focus now. See, use your imagination. This is helping you to clear out some of the masculine and feminine tension you have with the father, the mother, society, with the home, with the outer world. See it, the blue flame, like a royal burning blue bush. See it, that you are it, relaxing into it like a nest, like sleeping in it. And see the masculine, the feminine, the father, the mother within you. The father and mother can call Adam and Eve, the sort of masculine and feminine principles of creation, and see that within you. And heal it. Consciously restore the balance between the father and the mother. Consciously within yourself, feel the heart and the mind, man and woman. Mind is man, woman is heart. See the kind of two joining together. See that kind of symphony, that sort of synchronicity, the hyper-synchronicity. Now get in touch with your own body, your own heart, your own intuition, your mind, your instinct. What is right, what is wrong, your judgment, your belief, your identity, you versus the you out there in the world. See both. See the oneness that is the heart, and see the separation that is the mind. Seeing one belief against another, that is the mind. Trying to understand, trying to compartmentalize, arrange, organize, See the heart infusing with the coherence, the collaboration, the completion, sort of mastery, the sort of coming together, merging together, sort of creatively expanding, joining, interacting, resolving. Feel that happening in both the mind, both the body. See the masculine in your mind, like a cage. Open the cage, let the bird out. See the heart like a fire to a kitchen, which you need to cook, to create. You cannot create food without the fire to your hearth, your heart. The fire is how you're able to make, create, build something out of scratch, take something, ingredients, and make it into something nourishing. And you nourish your life, feed your life, nutrients. The mind, the cage, hold things together, but we can open, we can reshape, we can re-identify, re-relate. We can connect with the rational mind, the logic mind. And bring it a fulfilling, satisfying understanding, a philosophy, instead of a colliding, dividing, conquering understanding. Now inhale, exhale, and just relax the hands down and just feel what that meditation has done for you. Working with that sort of masculine and feminine within ourselves, within this whole collective web, and with our ability to relate to the father and the mother outside of ourselves, and the whole principles of father and mother in our sort of society. Now we'll tune out with one long sat and short nam, so bring the hands together. Inhale, exhale, inhale. Sat nam, sat nam, sat nam. Inhale, exhale. You can bow to yourself in your practice, and thank you for joining me.